Unit 17, Part 9. So onto 325, page 325 of Klenk. We start moving to English, translating English sentences into quantifier sentences when there's individual constants, so with relational predicates, 2 and 3 place predicates, and when there's individual constants that need to take up one or more of the positions in the 2 or 3 place predicate. Think of that as, L, X, Y, or L, bang, bang. That's 2 place. Those are the 2 places, right? 3 places, like I, X, Y, Z, is defined as the 3 place propositional function, X introduced Y to Z. I'm using that one and the last one here. So these are examples where you need to translate from English to the symbols. Some of those places are going to be filled with individual constants, which refer to names, John, Mary, so on. And sometimes you'll have 1 quantifier, and sometimes you'll have 2 quantifiers, and occasionally 3 quantifiers, binding the 1, 2, or 3 variables that take up the positions for the predicate, 2 or 3 place predicate. Okay, so she goes through a couple of examples here. I want to read out the important sentence, the important text at the bottom of 325, very last paragraph, and then I'm just going to do some examples from question 6, Unit 17, question 6, so page 338. I'll go through these examples. So you see how these things are done. You will have translations in the exam that you have to do. But bottom of 325, with more than one, with more than one quantifier, the situation gets a little more complex. But here again, you should first isolate the basic form of the sentence, write down the initial negated quantifier. She's actually talking about translating with negated quantifiers, and then figure out what should follow it. Suppose we have the sentence, "No one likes John." So I want to stress here how she translates the quantifier and then stops and pauses and says, what are we saying about this person that there isn't any of? It's similar, and I sort of stressed this before when we were going through the various for all x there exists a y, lxy, the Helen sentence and the Jesus sentence, and everybody has a lover, everybody is a lover. I was there stressing again, you pass the first quantifier, so for all x, for every single x. What am I saying is true of every one of them? Right? You stop, you pause. That's as a sort of like the subject of the sentence, right? And then you pass the predicate. Or there exists some one x such that. Okay, what am I saying is true now of this one person? That they love everybody, right? Or they're loved by everybody. So just see how she says that. Something similar here, right? Suppose we got the sentence, "No one likes everyone." Here, no one likes everyone. Here, the form is indicated by the phrase "no one." So we may begin with negated existential quantifier. Not the case if there exists an x. There is no x such that. That's how she passes it, right? Now we ask ourselves what there aren't any of, and in this case the answer is people who like everyone. That is, there is no x such that x likes everyone. The bit x likes everyone, that is our propositional function, which is not difficult to symbolize. It's universal. It's for all y, lxy. For every y, x loves y. So you get negated. It's not the case that there exists an x such that for all y, lxy. Right? That's answer at the very top. That's how you do that. So let me run through a few examples. Not everyone loves John. So again, there are sort of 2 ways you'll go about it. Not everyone, those ones are pretty easy. You can come and say hi if you want to the students.
Well, I just need some socks.
All right. Wife and kids crawling everywhere. All right, here you go. Here's the socks. Okay. Not everyone loves John. Okay, so not everyone's pretty easy. You can just read this word for word, for symbol for symbol. It's just not everyone, right? And I'm going to continue. Now, what am I saying about them? That X loves John. So I'd go on from there, right? Another strategy you might use is ask yourself, is this opening not negating the whole sentence? Yes, it is, right? So you could just forget about the negation. I've given this advice before. Forget about the negation. Translate the sentence, everyone loves John, pretty easy, and then add a negation at the very beginning, right? Because you are accurately capturing the order of construction, right? What's the order of construction of this sentence? Especially what's the last step? The last step in the construction of the sentence determines the form, right? It's everyone loves John, and it is, last step, the negation of that. Anyway, so it's not the case that not the case that for all x, Lxy is x loves y. So where is John and where is the x? Right? Clearly the x is the loving, and John is there. J for John, right? Please be confident enough. Nothing weird about your formula has to be a sentence, right? There's nothing strange about having a combination of quantifiers and individual constants. Perfectly legal so far as every variable is bound. For the simple reason that if you don't bind a variable, you don't have a sentence, right? Unbound variables, it's like walking into a bar and saying, X is Australian. You're not going to get into any arguments because you haven't asserted anything, right? Whatever. So that's it. Another way you could have done that is just, right, you know that the predicate L loves is going to be involved, right? And you might put John in his place first, right? Everyone loves John, it's X loves Y, so John's going to go there, right? Now, what am I doing? This is kind of against her advice, but this is sort of okay. Not everyone loves John, so it's going to be, not everyone is in the position of lover of John, okay? Slightly against her advice because of her words. On 325, right, you should first isolate the basic form of the sentence. Here it is determined as a negated universal, which is what it is, right? Okay, John has brothers. We've got B, X, Y. X is the brother of Y. John has brothers. Are quantifiers involved here? Can you tell? Right? Is this a quantifier statement? It is. It's an existential statement. It's asserting existence. John has brothers means there exists at least one X such that X is the brother of John, right? B, X, Y. X is the brother of John. So I'm going to put John here, and I'm saying John has brothers. As I said, I rephrased it, and she gives that advice several times. Rephrase this, especially in the next section on translating categoricals. The big section 4, categorical relation sentences, complex subjects and predicates, and then there's another section 5, starting 331, symbolizing sentences. She says, right, learn to rephrase. They get really complex there. Learn to rephrase these sentences with the variables such that you can then read the symbols off that rephrased sentence, right? So here, this was an easy one. This is just rephrased as, right? Rephrased means given a different formulation which is equivalent in meaning. True in the same circumstances, false in the same circumstances. Remember back to paraphrases, from the technical meaning of paraphrases from unit 3 or 4 or whatever it was. Right, John has brothers. My paraphrase was, there exists an X such that X is the brother of John. Right, so from that paraphrase, it's clear that it's an existential statement. Right, you got to hear the existential. John has brothers. I'm asserting that there are beings that are brothers of John. John has brothers. There exist brothers of John. This could be BJX. That is also equivalent because brothers is a symmetrical relation. So if he has brothers, you could say he is a brother. If you check the answer for the similar I, 6I in the back, she says, it's one with Amy having sisters. They give you can put it this way or that way. I think. No, they don't actually. Sorry, it's a mistake. forget that. They give you equivalent formulations, but they always put John. But I think you could replace J and X, and it would still be the same meaning. There is no one whom John doesn't love. Okay, so start at the beginning. There is no one whom. Okay, what is that? What kind of quantifier? That's a negated existential, right? There is no one whom John doesn't love, right? There does not exist an X. That's how I'm going to start that, right? The loving is going to be involved as well, as we'll see here. When you put down the loving predicate, you've also got to be on the lookout for whether the predicate itself is negated, right? There's no one whom John doesn't love. There does not exist an X. Where's John? John is doing the loving. There does not exist an X such that, now the X is going to be in the position loved by John, and there's no one that he doesn't love. That not gets captured with this formal element, as it were, right? There does not exist an X such as not the case that John loves X, which is there is no one whom John doesn't love. Yes, there's no one whom John doesn't love. There is none, right? This is how you assert non-existence or nothingness. That was a great breakthrough of quantifiers. Thank you, Freya. Negation of the existential quantifiers. The negation combined with the existential quantifier was the big breakthrough. Such that John does not love them. I wanted to say, I forgot to say, B, right, this easy one, not everyone loves John. It's easy if you do know to read, not everyone like this. Notice that the answer is not, right, and that is not equivalent to that's correct. What is not correct is this, right? Wrong, right? This is something very different. Can you read that? For all x, not Lxy. This is a universal statement. It's asserting that this propositional function is true of every being, and it's saying that for every x, Lj, not for all x, not Lxj. For every x, x does not love John. Everyone doesn't love John. Very different in meaning from not everyone loves John. John can probably live with not everyone loving John, but he's probably going to be sad if everyone doesn't love John. Right? You can hear the difference in meaning, so that does not equal that. So order of quantifier and negation, very important. We did this, okay, let's finish with the last one. Not everyone introduced one person to another. I'm going to start, okay, so it's I, bang, bang, bang. X introduced Y to Z, right, is the order. Okay, so it's not everyone, so not for all X. And what am I saying about them? Okay, not for all X. What are they doing? What's the X doing? Not everyone introduced one person to another. So it's X introduced Y to Z. So the not everyone, what position is that negated existential binding? The first position, right? It's the one doing the introducing. There does not exist an X such that what? Such that there's a person that the X introduced another person to, right? So one person to another, those are both quantifier, both get quantifiers. There exists a Y. Is this one person, and now that Y is here, right? It's X introduced Y to Z, 2, right? So this, after the 2 in words, the definition of the propositional function is X introduced Y to Z, and both of them get existential. Right? There exists it's not the case that for all X there exists a Y and there exists a Z such that X introduced Y to Z.